Hello, Point Park men's soccer fans. We're here with head coach Jeroen Walstra getting ready for the 2012 season. We're in the middle of preseason training. Coach, you've had a couple of days to look at the new guys and the returners in preseason training. What's the makeup of this year's team, and what have you seen in practice so far?
Well, we've a lot of new guys coming in. Of course, there's still an old core with people like Sala and Ziyech and Guaston and who else? Lucas, you know. So we have a bunch of older guys that are a good core, but then we have a new group of, I'm not even sure how many, but probably 15 new players that are going to fill up the holes that were left behind with the seniors that graduated last year.
Now you're coming off a really strong year of 2011 where you were 12-5-1, reached the conference finals. Does that give you something really good to build off of? Are you expecting a similar season? Can you get to that same level record-wise or achievement-wise?
You never know how the season's going to work out in terms of losses and wins, but I think we have a better team this year with more depth. I think the quality of on the field is significantly better than last year. I think that we recruited some very, very good players, including Fraser McKinley from Scotland, Jonty Laux from England, Filippo Martinuzzi is going to be a terrific defender if he's whole and not injured like he is right now. We have a kid from New Jersey who's just very athletic, Tyler Sokolsky. So combined with the Romida Nenko, I think he's going to make a lot of goals. Marius Seeger, name it, they're all very good players, and I think they're going to give both depth and a lot of excitement on the field.
Okay, and mentioning last year you got to the conference final and within a one loss there, and maybe you would have found yourself in a play-in game for the national tournament. How do you get to where you were last year to reaching the national tournament? Is it that extra edge? What do you have to do there? Is it refining a certain part of the game or a certain part of your team, or how do you make that next step to the national stage?
Well, I think the weakness that we had last year was just length. We were very short, and we got punished a couple times in the air, and that's why I don't want to put a lot of pressure on Filippo, but I think he should make a difference in the air, and he's a little taller, but it's going to be a weakness for us. It's a little bit there. On the other hand, I think tactically, we'll have better players, so that should compensate for that too. And some other guys have more experience, like Brett Guaston. I think he's going to be, a much more mature player. It's going to add to the game.
What are some strengths of this year's team? You have a lot coming back up front, offensively, a lot of goals and assists to speak of there. And you should be pretty good in ball possession. Are those the strengths of your team, or if you could go through some of the strengths?
Yeah, what I believe that we will do well is possess the ball. We practice on a good field. We play on turf. I think that is key to our game, is having the ball. If we have the ball, they can't score, and we're more likely to score. But then again, I think also we have a couple players that read the game better than some of the players that left last year, and also will win the ball easier. But yeah, again, I don't know how many goals. The scoring power of some of the players is, I'm still not totally convinced of it. So we'll see. It's practice.
And now we mentioned that you have a lot returning in terms of starters. You have 7 of 11 starters back, but of those 4 starters you lost, there's 2 defenders, there's 2 midfielders, a lot in the defense. center defense and some defensive midfielders you need to replace. Is that a concern of yours? And have you
defense a little bit more than the midfield, but I think that the guys like Zach Rafalowski, Fraser McKinley, Filippo, Matt Buckley, even John T. Laucus. I mean, those players can all play in the back.
And now, talking a little bit more about the guys that you lost from last year, it seems like you lost some of the more vocal leaders, guys like Shane Lucas, Anthony Russo, Andres Escobar, even Wendell Hobel, who was just a freshman. Is that something you need to search for? Who are the vocal leaders? Or is it
no, there's a lot of competition for leadership on the team right now. In practices, there's definitely enough talk. So,
who are some of those guys that are maybe returners that are taking on that role as upperclassmen, or
not
the new
so much
guys?
returners, a lot of the new guys. Yeah, Fraser McKinley, John T. Filippo, he only has 20 minutes of practice in, but he was very vocal. I would like to see that the keepers talk a little bit more, but yeah, no, there's enough. And Alex Sala, of course, is vocal. So.
As far as some of the returners go, particularly up front, Lucas Silva, Matt Inekiargo, Francis Tabby, there were a lot of goal scoring up there by those guys last year. Do you figure that they will have similar seasons, or all signs point to that?
Both look very fit. If you talk about Lucas and Matt A. In practice, I haven't seen them score enough at this point, and but again, this is our third day, so I don't know. We'll see.
Your style of play, we touched on it a little bit. Your style of play is fairly simple on the surface. When you emphasize simply playing soccer, as you say, can you go into more detail about that and what that means in terms of what we would see on the field from the Pioneers?
Well, I would like to attack over the flanks. That's what I like to do. Get crosses in from the goal line and finish from there. In regular soccer, about 70% of all goals come from crosses. And I would like to see the team play high pressure, win the ball early on the field. There's always good chances to score if you can win the ball on the attacking field, on the attacking half. So that's one of the objectives. Now, I'm not sure if we can do that. Depends who you play against, obviously. In terms of system, I'm still looking at different ways. We played yesterday. We played a 4-2-3-1 system plus keeper. The day before that, we played a 4-4-2. This afternoon, we're going to play again a 4-2-3-1 against a 4-4-2. So we're still playing with the different lineups and different players.
You mentioned the importance of scoring from the flanks. I mean, we saw that last year with Jack Pilkington down the right side and Wendell and Hobel down the left side. Each guy had like 7 or 8 assists. Jack's back, Wendell's not. Have you found those guys to fill that role, the important role for you?
Well, Jack's back. There's players like Jonathan Lucas, Hakim Jabil. He's a Swedish kid. They can do it. Lucas can do it. He can play up front, but he can also play on the left. So no, I mean, I'm not so worried about that.
And then the other key midfielder there, Alex Sala from the center mid position. We see a lot of goals and assists from him there. Is he ready for a big year? And what are you looking for out of Alex Sala?
It's his last year, and he's a great guy. And I hope that this year is going to bring exactly what he's been looking for 4 years, and that's making the national tournament. And we'll do anything to get there for him and for others.
Which is a perfect transition into the next subject, which is your path to a possible national tournament. And it would have to go through a new conference, the KIAC, Kentucky Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. What will be the adjustment there that you would have to make, and where do you see yourself fitting in the KIAC?
The KIC, the pain, of course, is that we have almost all away games, and it's a schlep out there. that's hard. So we have an enormous amount of travel to do, even though we have a smaller schedule this year, fewer games. And then again, we don't know for sure if we can qualify through playing games, but you know, we qualify, of course, if we are in the top 25 ranked. But then we're still talking about whether we can add Talladega from the Gulf Coast, or that should be some kind of, and another alternative is that the 4 unaffiliated groups get together and have their own tournament in Kansas City. That's a proposal. So these two things are still floating around. So whether we are going to have an automatic bid by adding Talladega to the playoffs, or that we're going to play a tournament in Kansas City to qualify for the national tournament. So I don't know.
In terms of the 5 teams in the KIAC that are there, I know it doesn't give you the 6 needed for an automatic bid, but among those 5 teams, they have you second, the coaches do, in the preseason behind Asbury. Where do you have any idea where you might fall among those 5 teams?
I think we're going to win.
Okay, very good. You've heard it here from Point Park men's soccer head coach Jeroen Walstra, getting ready for the 2012 season. Thanks, Coach, for taking the time, and we'll check in with you throughout the season.